I am Kesten Rono, and you are here for day 23 in Vengeance. Vengeance is what we explored yesterday, that possibly everything that we are seeing is a reflection of vengeance that we're feeling inside of ourselves. We were choosing to accept an idea that everything around us is perishable, that it will not exist, that it is not real, and is of vengeance. Is this really the world we wish to see? And we believe that what we desire we will see. So therefore, what we are seeing in some way we accept we must be desiring. And so we're willing to visit that idea. Welcome to day 23. Our principle today is miracles rearrange perception and place all levels in true perspective. This is healing because sickness comes from confusing the levels. Miracles rearrange perspective and place all levels in true perspective. Miracles rearrange perception. So perception versus perspective. Miracles rearrange perception and place all levels in true perspective. So perceiving the world around us and organizing it. Miracles offer us this gift. We were reflecting yesterday that imagine you're God, that you have made it to the end of time, or that miracles are both the beginning and the end, that miracles therefore could be the beginning of time itself. But we can imagine that if we had all of time and all of space in which to view everything that could be, that we may be able to organize it. And earlier, we were learning that as we allow our thoughts to be random and recognize their randomness and recognize that small things can be equal to big things, and that we are naturally charged to view some things as more important than others, and that we can logically understand that everyone else could have a variance on that, and most likely does. So that we are all perceiving something differently. And in this randomness, however I am viewing my thoughts, selecting them and allowing them to just be, and allowing them to be part of the training material, part of the learning across time, part of the lessons that miracles are offering, that through some kind of process of recognizing this disorder, we may have more appreciation and a better ability to recognize the pattern of miracles that present themselves in some kind of entropy, some kind of chaos. And that typically when we see chaos, we want to clamp down on it. If we can make a plan, after all, just maybe we can prevent chaos from happening. But if we are not at the end of time, so all the learning has not been done because time has not ended. It's just not possible for us to know everything yet. We haven't made it to, I don't know, the infinite. That there are some laws of eternity that are different than the laws of time. Whatever these levels are, we can imagine that with more time, with more experience in our life, we gain more perspective. And so if we had all of time, we would be able to order all of the chaos, or we would be able to see it in order. So somehow, with our thoughts, through our expressions of love, through these natural signs of forgiveness, miracles offer us some kind of window, a new ability to rearrange our perception. We are already flexing the laws of physics here, believing that we can give something and receive something. I give love, I receive love. I give forgiveness, I receive God's forgiveness, and this cause of effect is simultaneous. They are intertwined somehow. This breaks how we approach normal life. I give something away, I just do not have it anymore. Thus, we want to hang on to what we have. Miracles rearrange perception. We have some way that we have been perceiving, and this natural, habitual, constant flow of miracles that we allow to be subconscious, and when we grab a hold of it for conscious control, that miracles themselves become misguided. If they're misguided, then how we are arranging things based off our perception is not true perspective. And we're here for a new perspective. Wouldn't you like the truest perspective that you can? What if miracles and this flow of love, maximally expressed from a source of love, flowing from some place of abundance to some place of lack, that when we feel abundance, we are somehow linked to some source of love, the source of miracles, participating already in this natural cycle outside of this circle of vengeance, an eye for an eye, going on attack to defend ourselves. This illusion, this false idea that we can build a safer world, a more peaceful world, a world free of worry by adding more worry about what will be, by constantly thinking that we're in a war or some kind of conflict that causes us to guard naturally our most prized possessions like ourselves, our family. It can be a challenging idea, but we are asked to greet it with ease. And where we do not find ease, we recognize that we do not understand. And if we do not understand, we can very logically reason that we are in some kind of practice. We're improving in this sport. We're advancing in this subject in school. We are on the job learning. And God is offering us his strength. We're receiving something by giving ourselves to this process, not attempting to control this process. So, even though we want to order everything, we want to plan for all the outcomes that we can imagine, our imagination falls short because we haven't been here for all of time. You know, a kid may have a different imagination than us, and that may be very, very expansive. And as an adult, we might chuckle and say, that's not how it works. Even as we use tricks with kids like Santa. Santa Claus. What about your colostrum in your brain? Where do these terms come from? What do they mean? What ideas have we adopted? What physiological processes in our body have we abandoned? What have we outsourced? What have we honed in on tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter, believing that we can fix it with the side effect of some kind of medication, causing other ripple effects inside of our body, manifesting different for everyone? Are we sure that this is the path to healing? What if we just allow ourselves to be that what we want is ours? Not through some entitlement, but through some divine gift that you find yourself existing at all. You could play a numbers game and think of how infinitely lucky that we are to be here. And that alone is its gift, is a gift. It's a present, it's the presence. But what if it's even more elusive than we ever thought? Because here we are using our senses. Here we are using our senses. Just now I've deceived these dogs into thinking that they must protect me, that there's some kind of fight. Thank you, dogs. Hey, Autumn. Thank you, dogs. Bella, it was me. It was me. It was me. Pina. Maybe what we think we are hearing is not what we are hearing. It's enough. Thank you. Desperately searching for what this conflict is, willing to protect what matters most. Thank you, dogs. Thank you, dogs. There are signs everywhere. There are signs everywhere that the way that we are perceiving the world and attempting to place it in some kind of order is removing our ability to appreciate the pattern of disorder that is naturally part of the process, that somehow we are not equipped to have this higher self, higher mind perspective. We're not in the plane looking at geography from the top. We're walking it. It takes time to get over the mountain. It can be painful, but it can be rewarding. And when we're stuck staring at the mountainside, sweating, will this ever end? I'm getting nowhere. Well, we just turn around and look behind us, and we can see how far we've come. We're on some path, and we want to be on the path of love. The path of love is through the acceptance of miracles, that there is some invisible gift, and that we're not confusing that invisible realm with just darkness, that we believe that darkness can hide in darkness, that this invites more fear. We have some kind of choice, especially as we approach whatever this idea of nothingness is, this unknown. Will we scare ourselves again, even though we keep getting a tiny bit closer to the possibility that everything we ever thought just is, and it is therefore easier. And as soon as we can see ideas for what they are ideas. They're ideas. What if things become just things? They become new ideas. What if? We've already talked through a variety of ways that this might open the door for at least seeing, noticing a black swan, which is different than us image making what's around us. This black swan pointing us to the idea that, hey, wait, however I thought things had to be true, whatever I was being told or whatever I chose to believe, isn't always true. And if I took it as de facto, 100% concrete, well, then I'm aware that I can trick myself in some kind of process. Thinking that I know better than God, rather than accepting that I may be part of whatever God is and participate in harmony with God. And if this idea of God is conflicting for you, that the term is still charged, maybe you can let down your boundaries and assign the word God to just love, because what we're experiencing here is that God is strength, God is love, God is forgiveness. Miracles rearrange perception and place all levels in true perspective. Levels. Levels. Interesting. I mean, levels to me feels like video games. Levels feels like floors on a building. That there is some true arrangement of them. And if we can relax and release ourselves into this natural habitual flow of miracles, which after all should be occurring all the time, thus maybe they are occurring all the time, and sometimes they manifest as fear as we believe that darkness may hide, Therefore, we believe somehow that it can be revealed. It's possible that with love and light, that we can find illumination of the ways that we have felt differently, that we've been living in the dark somehow, and that is okay, that unconditional love would allow us to feel across the variety of experiences, and that we may metaphorically, therefore, wake up. When the light hits us, it is time to rise. And there are some versions of levels through which we may rise. May we release our understandable desire of control into recognizing its meaninglessness. May we accept that meaninglessness does not mean futility, that meaninglessness means the opportunity to believe that we have a choice, that there are no neutral things because there are no neutral thoughts. Therefore, we are able to accept that we are either choosing love or choosing fear, that there's some polarity, that there is some void into which things must flow. May it be so. This rearrangement of perception and this ordering of levels to some true perspective towards which we hope we are going as we enter into nothingness and try these practices, even if we do not understand. This process is healing because sickness comes from confusing the levels. So, in our conscious effort, which we are simply directing ourselves, speaking so loudly to ourselves in fear, it would seem that we are speaking over God's voice. We're not able to hear our intuitive direction, the specific guidance, this true perspective. That this is us confusing ourselves. We're somehow misordering levels. And that's causing us to break the pattern of what we believe is the randomness of things. And we're trying to fix it. We have to find a way through. It's just a natural thing, I suppose, of being human. We'll try every permutation of everything. We're brute forcing our way to breaking this password, this encryption. We're going to try every single permutation until we can get it right. And we're confused. We think we're solving something by negating something else. It wasn't that. I'll keep going. I suppose that is at least showing us that we can have conviction or devotion or determination, and we can bring that process into our conviction, determination, and devotion to release our efforts. That somehow, given whatever true perspective is, if that's the output of some cryptography, that there is only one input, if it's designed well, that will give us that output. Somehow, if we stop trying so hard, God may whisper us the exact input, which organizes all of the levels for us, and then we will simply know instantaneously. We will be healed, that sickness is a result of our confusion. And as we move further and further and further with our technologies, which we appreciate, sometimes we are tempted to move away from a natural flow of the world that once upon a time, Weston A. Price, we ate seasonal, local, by design, organic, whole foods from our environment. We hunted, we foraged, and that if you were in a cold climate, you ate differently than if you were at the equator. It was a natural process. And through this process, somehow, all of the diseases that we believe today are part of our genes. Did your mother have this? Did your grandfather have this? What about your great grandfather? Well, you just go back a few generations beyond that, and people who were not yet enjoying the complexity, the confusion of our cityscapes and all of their fun advantages and trade-offs and experience, that people living seasonal, local, had essentially perfect health, relatively no occurrences of cancers and heart disease, certainly no diabetes, non-existent, that they had symmetry in their face, vertically, horizontally, that they had straight spines, that they had no facial crowding, they had all their teeth, and all of their food was more nutrient dense than what we had in our advancements and our conscious ordering of the way that things must be. That when we brought cows in from pasture into the city to make it simpler for us, that the cows got sick, that we got sick. So we pasteurized their milk. We turned the whole food product into a dead product. And Louis Pasteur, the inventor, on his deathbed, capitulated. The animal wasn't the issue, it was the terrain. We took them away from their natural environment. We take ourselves away from our natural environment. Sometimes that allows us to achieve new things, exciting. What do you see when you see a city in all of its high rises? It's a technological marvel, but what is it at base level? It's clean water in, it's human waste out. And that's the basis for us being well. We're having to do more and more complex things, which can introduce more and more confusion as we attempt to wrangle the natural order of what can be. And that can be exciting, but it can have changes, especially if those are co-opted by less than human thriving minded people or organizations, or that we can get caught up in some kind of process. But perhaps we can help reinvent the beauties of what nature are and respect that they offer us some kind of flow, that we are literally born from the world around us, that we are made from everything around us. And if we make that process more complicated and confusing for our systems to try and digest, it's natural that we veer further and further and further into sickness. And it's very unlikely, while it might be acutely helpful, it's very unlikely that this root cause is fixed by inventing more and more things which are not fully studied, because it's impossible to study one thing to perfection. Science is the process of unfolding ideas. We have an idea and we test it, and we have conclusions upon which we can ask new questions, and this creates an exponential opportunity for more and more discovery, which itself is exciting, but it is not necessarily answering anything. In fact, it is creating more questions than answers. We could say that could be confusing. It is fun to quest. It is fun to explore. There are certainly some of us who would love to be on a spaceship, looking further and further and further into whatever is. And that's what we are attempting to do here, inside of our mind and entering into the invisible. And we can see some ideas that allow us to understand that sickness, at least I was referring to in bodily form, can result from confusing ourselves. The process of rearranging the levels, that miracles offer us the opportunity to rearrange perception and place all levels in true perspective, whatever this is, well, we're invited to see this as healing, because sickness comes from confusing the levels. Let's just sit with that for today. Lesson 23. I can escape from the world I see by giving up attack thoughts. Empowering. You can escape from the world you see by giving up attack thoughts. Okay? We're being granted. We're being granted. Hmm. Hmm. We're being recognized that we are seeing. It's just that we are seeing a world based off of fears. And those fears, if we are in war, are causing us to see the need for vengeance, attacking through the idea that we are defending something. Meet them on the other side of the city walls. It makes sense. It makes sense. But what we are here for is curiosities about what have not made sense yet. And if those allow us to see a different way and invite a new process, a new perception, a true perception to conduct ourselves for the rest of our lives. Or if we allow whatever the laws of eternity are versus the laws of time, perhaps we can conduct ourselves as we would hope we could, in harmony with love, which would lend us towards an opportunity of perfect peace and perfect safety and freedom from worry. Maybe, if we choose to see this way, that we will be living in a realm, world, idea that is not a world from which we think we need to escape. You can escape from the world you see by giving up attack thoughts. And if you're powerful enough for this book to admit that you are seeing, just captured by the idea that darkness can hide and therefore you must go eliminate it, then you're powerful enough to see a different way. The idea for today contains the only way out of fear that will ever succeed. Nothing else will work. Everything else is meaningless. But the way cannot fail. This way cannot fail. Everything else is meaningless, which means that we are out of harmony with God, because everything that God creates has meaning. I'm accepting this idea because if he has all purview, then he would order everything with meaning. Even if you had God's ability and you wanted to just throw stuff around, at some point, with all time, with eternity, perhaps you would want it to be meaningful. Almost certainly. Wouldn't you try every permutation? The idea for today contains the only way out of fear that will ever succeed. Nothing else will work. Everything else is meaningless. But this way cannot fail. Every thought you have makes up some segment of the world you see. It is with your thoughts, then, that we must work if your perception of the world is to be changed. Miracles are thoughts. There are no neutral things because we have no neutral thoughts. Therefore, we can accept that every thought we have makes up some segment, the things of the world that we see. Therefore, we are going to use our thoughts We're going to work with our thoughts so that we may change our perception. If the cause of the world you see is attack thoughts, you must learn that it is these thoughts which you do not want. There is no point in lamenting the world. There is no point in trying to change the world. It is incapable of change because it is merely an effect. Whoa. We're spending time hating the way we see something, thinking that we need to change it. But it is just an effect. There is indeed a point in changing your thoughts about the world. Here you are changing the cause. The effect will change automatically. Cause and effect, we are being reminded, are linked. Our thoughts, which are miracles, we're being told are the cause. If we're looking outside and saying, I hate what I am seeing, I'm tired of the abuse, I need to do something about it. Well, what we can do about it can start with our minds. We could become mindful instead of mindless. That all other ways are meaningless and they keep leading us back into meaninglessness, but not the nothingness where we can be aware of the meaninglessness. They are constantly taking us around this circle, and we constantly keep building a way to beat it. And we constantly keep falling back in the same pattern because our ego is saying, yeah, that was really good. I now have survivor's bias. I won, but not the war, just this one battle. I have to keep going. And because I feel victorious, I will keep fighting. I can escape from the world I see by giving up attack thoughts. Here we are changing the cause. The effect will change automatically. Cause and effect are linked. All minds are linked. Cause and effect happen simultaneously. Miracles are the beginning and the end. Their source is what matters, which is love, and they are expressions of love. The world you see is a vengeful world, and everything in it is a symbol of vengeance. Each of your perceptions of external reality is a pictorial representation of your own attack thoughts. One can well ask if this can be called seeing. Is not fantasy a better word for such a process, and hallucination a more appropriate term for the result? Okay, are we seeing or are we hallucinating? Are we living in a fantasy? Our external reality, here in quotes, is a pictorial representation of our own attack thoughts. The world you see is a vengeful world, and everything in it is a symbol of vengeance. That makes sense. The idea of a vengeful world needs to be expressed with vengeance. It is vengeance itself. What would vengeance want you to see other than more of it? If it exists, then it is. This is what every idea offers itself. And it needs some kind of conscious acceptance or subconscious acceptance, some kind of attention upon which to rest in order to be observed into existence. Like the double slit experiment. It happens in all ways until we look at it and then somehow we influence it. So may we choose to see a different way. And if we are just reflecting what is inside of our heart and our thoughts, and that is what we're seeing in the external reality, as we call it, that this is some kind of image making, just a pictorial representation of our own thoughts. Is this really seeing? Or is it a fantasy? And the effect of fantasy is hallucinations, illusions, fear, falsities. You see the world that you have made, but you do not see yourself as the image maker. That certainly is true. Can you readily say right now that you believe that you created everything around you? That if you walk forward and you run into something, that it is simply a pictorial representation of your thoughts? You see the world that you have made, but you do not see yourself as the image maker. You cannot be saved from the world, but you can escape from its cause. Cause being our thoughts. We can't get out of here unless we choose to perceive things a different way. We are caught in here with ourselves. This is what salvation means. For where is the world you see when its cause is gone? This is what salvation means. For where is the world you see when its cause is gone? Vision already holds a replacement for everything you think you see now. Loveliness can light your images and so transform them that you will love them, even though they were made of hate, for you will not be making them alone. That feels complex. Vision, I suppose true vision already holds a replacement for everything you think you see now. Now we remember earlier on in some of the lessons, we were talking about that we think we are thinking. And this was being somehow detracting to our presence. Vision already holds a replacement for everything you think you see now. Loveliness can light your images. So love, and therefore loveliness, rather than meaninglessness. Loveliness can light, this equation of light and love. Loveliness can light your images that we have been image making, that these are mere pictorial representations. And if we find more love, we are in loveliness, we can find more light to be cast on our images and so transform them that we will love them. That if we're looking around and we see hate, things that we don't like, or some permutation of them, right? We could have a mild discomfort or wild rage along this spectrum of anger and therefore want vengeance. Imagine someone hurting a child. If you're complicit with that idea, you are confused and sick. But imagine if you are not complicit with that idea. For me, that angers me. Loveliness somehow can light this image, not that children should be hurt, but that somehow I am seeing pain. I don't know how to rectify this when we pick such extreme examples. I suppose that I can feel that my anger is blinding to me from seeing the entire equation somehow differently. I am angry now that I've brought that idea into my mind. Even now, this text feels somewhat meaningless. And I just made it up, the idea up. That it happens, I suppose I believe that it is definitely happening, but the idea itself is angering to me. Or I find anger when I think of it. How do we bring in forgiveness for ideas like this? To receive God's forgiveness, to feel love and be strengthened. For both parties, somehow, to see a different way. For all parties, to see a different way. Loveliness can light my images, that my thoughts are the cause of the world I am seeing around me, and therefore I have no escape from the effect, even if it angers me. But what did I learn yesterday? That if I want vengeance, I see only the perishable. I see nothing that will last. What I see is not real. What I see is a form of vengeance. It is the cause of the world you see that is attack thoughts. If the cause of the world you see is attack thoughts, you must learn that it is these thoughts which you do not want. That is definitely true. There is no point in lamenting the world. There is no point in trying to change the world. It is incapable of change because it is merely an effect. But there is indeed a point in changing your thoughts about the world. Here you are changing the cause. The effect will change automatically. I have not been seeing myself as the image maker, even though this book is suggesting that I make the world. That seems like an extreme responsibility. And I suppose then if I am waking up to this idea, if somehow I can allow this to assimilate within me and I can find loveliness, then this is a great opportunity. Please, loveliness, as a prayer to the Creator, light my thoughts. Allow me to transform what I see so I may love what I see. I see what I desire and I desire what I see. I desire to love. I desire to love. Even though they were made from hate, we are transforming thoughts made from hate. That somehow love can take these vengeful, hateful, angering thoughts and transform them. What a gift and what a power to transform our hateful thoughts when we are blinded by hate, as the ego is blinding itself, building up an illusion of control, keeping it from recognizing that there is beauty in the unknown, that the love that exists, the tool that it does not have access to, it's building out of fear, that love allows us to start building somehow in a true direction with true perception. That there's a natural process of order and that it exists in the unknown, even if we are scared every time we approach the unknown. Please show me loveliness. For you will not be making them alone. These thoughts, the transformation of our images. I suppose we've already said, I am not alone in experiencing the effects of my seeing. Perhaps God is with us. The idea for today introduces the thought that you are not trapped in the world you see, because its cause can be changed. Its cause can be changed. So we are not trapped. We are not imprisoned in what we see around us. This change requires, first, that the cause be identified and then let go so that it can be replaced. We're discovering the cause of our hurts, identifying it specifically as we have been instructed. Once we have found it, in all of it that we hate, through love and loveliness, we are going to simply let it go. Perhaps this is the idea of forgiveness. I hate what you did to that child. That idea of what you did is the cause of my anger and my desire for vengeance. I can see it very clearly. And when I feel it, I am enraged. I recognize that to live, to have life, what miracles mean, I have to let it go so that I can replace it with something more meaningful. The first two steps in this process require your cooperation. The final one does not. Okay? The steps were then identifying the source, letting it go, and it being replaced. Beautiful. We only have to get a 66% on this test. We're going to identify the cause. That's not very hard. Get angry about something. What is pissing you off? Or any other spectrum of upsets. What made you feel this way? Let it go. Try on forgiveness. Receive God's forgiveness. Participate in the flow of miracles by allowing what you hate to have no meaning. Take away its power by no longer contributing. When it tags you, do not run. Do not pursue an eye for an eye. Allow yourself to take the higher path through all of its difficulty that the other idea cannot take, because hate is stuck in hate. And if you have the ability to choose, because there are no neutral thoughts, then you may choose love. Hate can never choose hate, but you're a creator. You have the ability to choose. You can create something new. You can literally transform hate into love, but you must let it go. Identify the source. Let it go. And receive the gift of miracles. Let it be replaced. This part will happen on its own. Your images have already been replaced. By taking the first two steps, you will see that this is so. So somehow it's already been done. One mentor's words is to announce, "It is done, it is done, it is done." How could that be true? It never really fit. But there was something about what was being offered that I knew was incongruent with the way that I thought. I still never figured it out, but here it is. This is a simultaneous effect changed by some cause, that they are linked. When we change our thoughts, the effects immediately change. Your images have already been replaced. That's the automatic part. By taking the first two steps, you will see that this is so. Okay, so somehow our images of hate have already been replaced with images of love. Hand wave that. They're already complete. The process is already done. It's waiting for us to see it differently. And the path to seeing it differently is to recognize our upset and let it go. Then we can see. Besides using it throughout the day as the need arises, 5 practice periods are required in applying today's idea. As you look about you, repeat the idea slowly to yourself first, and then close your eyes and devote about a minute to searching your mind for as many attack thoughts as occur to you. Great. I was just about to call up devotion, because if we have 5 practice periods and we're supposed to use it throughout the day, we are becoming a perpetual practice. That's devotion. We're going to look around. So it sounds like eyes are open. Repeat the idea slowly to ourselves first. I can escape from the world I see by giving up attack thoughts. Please try this after me. I can escape from the world I see by giving up attack thoughts. Altogether, I can escape from the world I see by giving up attack thoughts. One more time. I can escape from the world I see by giving up attack thoughts. We are recognizing here that there is an effect which we do not like, and we desire to see the world differently. We are here to try on a new perspective. The way to see a world differently is to make a change to the cause. Like we said, the root cause of health. Stop band-aiding the effect. We must get back to the root cause. The cause here of what we see around us, we are being told, is our thoughts. Miracles are thoughts. Let's participate in this process by relinquishing control. How do we do that? We actually have to make some decisions here. What do? We first feel. How do we feel? We find an upset. What the heck caused us to feel upset? That's not actually the cause. It's our thoughts. That feels confusing, but I'm here to practice, so I will let it go. And through this process, we are being told that we will see that what we were hoping to see differently has already been done. That it was simply the way that we were coloring the world around us, insisting that we know better than God and covering up his voice, that all we could notice was what we hated. What if there's an unstoppable tide of caring for kids that we just cannot see because all we talk about is how much we hate that they have been hurt? If we just talk about how much we hate that they have been hurt, when we spend all of our time hating everyone who has hurt them, we would feel justice in doing so. And we could recognize that we would be causing more pain to those who have experienced pain and have passed that pain on, as disgusting as it is. Perhaps there is already something else that exists. And by letting the source, the cause, we believe, of this idea to go. Through forgiveness, it would seem that we are learning about loveliness. And therefore, we are transforming our hateful thoughts and stepping into a new ordering of all levels, releasing our confusion and therefore our own sickness, that somehow we have a sickness. A wonderful quote I heard recently was, I do not like something about that man in me. And here we're seeing, I suppose, the true meaning behind that idea, that it is our thoughts that are allowing us to see only that thing. So, for these 5 individual minutes and throughout your day, as we start to get closer and closer to accepting our devotion, which seems to be a prerequisite for this to be possible, as each one of these thoughts, as many attack thoughts as occur to us, accepting their varying, supposedly, levels and randomness, allowing us to appreciate the pattern of randomness and miracles. As many attack thoughts as occur, for each one that crosses our mind, we will say, I can escape from the world I see by giving up attack thoughts about the abuse of children. I can escape from the world I see by giving up attack thoughts about. That will be a process. Hold each attack thought in mind as you say this, and then dismiss that thought and go on to the next. I can escape from the world I see by giving up attack thoughts. I can escape from the world I see by giving up attack thoughts about endless wars. I can escape from the world I see by giving up attack thoughts that people hate each other because they are different. I can escape from the world I see by giving up thoughts that a mother could not love her child. Attack thoughts. I'll try this on my own. In the practice periods, be sure to include both your thoughts of attacking and of being attacked. So supposedly I could make it more personal. Their effects are exactly the same because they are exactly the same. So attacking and being attacked is the circle we talked about of vengeance, and therefore attacking is to be attacked. Loving is to be loved. Forgiveness is to be forgiven. Their effects are exactly the same because they are exactly the same. You do not recognize this as yet, and you are asked at this time only to treat them as the same in today's practice periods. We are still at the stage of identifying the cause of the world that you see, our thoughts. When you finally learn that thoughts of attack and of being attacked are not different, right? That cause and effect are linked. When you finally learn that thoughts of attack and of being attacked are not different, you will be ready to let the cause go. Okay, so we don't have to fix this today. We're going to recognize the thought. We're going to allow ourselves to sit with that thought for a brief moment and say, I can escape from the world I see by giving up attack thoughts about whatever it is that makes you want to attack. And then we'll let the thought go. Perhaps we're unable to let the cause go yet. As I just said, I find conflict with certain ideas I can bring up, and perhaps you will too. Maybe we can start with ways that we specifically have known to be attacked, and then ways that we feel or we imagine we are attacked. Maybe we can find ways that we attack. They are the same after all. I can escape from the world I see by giving up attack thoughts about the theft of the future through the indiscriminate printing of money for those closest to its production's causes. When we finally learn that thoughts of attack and of being attacked are not different, we will be ready to let the cause go. For today, please 5 times, or 4 times, I suppose, after this lesson, and as often as you think about it throughout the day, but for at least those minutes, allow the random attack thoughts that you feel, either to attack or being attacked, to enter your mind, and simply say, I can escape from the world I see by giving up attack thoughts about the item you're holding in your mind. Then let the thought go. And in time, somehow, we will be able to let the cause go. I am Kesten Rono, and thank you for pursuing this idea with determination, devotion, curiosity, and ease. I'll see you tomorrow for day 24 of A Course in Miracles.